Okay. So now let me show you one example program by combining the class object and the class members and the member function definition. Okay. So we have a header file and then I have created a class, right? So what is the syntax for class creation? We need to use the keyword class and give the class name, right? So here my program task is addition of two numbers using class concept, right? So without this class concept also we can go for addition of two numbers using simple C++ program. So I think this I have given you a task, right? Addition of three numbers. Okay, but now the same program, but we are going to use the class concept. So in the middle, see, immediately after the header file we are going for the class declaration part. Okay, so this we have seen in structure of C++. Okay, so immediately after the include statement, we are going for the class declaration part. So the syntax is the keyword class and the class name addition. Okay, and within curly braces, we are going to uh, define the class members. So who are all called the class members? The member variables and the member functions inside a particular class are called as class members. So in this class addition, we have three member variables, right? A, B, C. Since I am going to perform addition of two numbers, as I told you, before writing any program, we need to finalize how many number of inputs, how many number of outputs required for this particular program. Okay, so here I need two input. Why? Because two numbers I am going to add and the result I need to store in another variable. So for that I need one output, right? So totally three variables I am declaring here. Okay, and then I have to go for function declaration part. So variable declaration finished. Next I am going for function declaration. And remember, whenever we are doing this variable declaration and function declaration inside the class declaration part, all these variables and functions should come under any one type of access specifiers, right? Again we will discuss what is the access specifier. So access specifier, three types of access specifiers we I have listed: private, public and protected, right? So by default, if we did not specify anything, by default the access specifier will be private. So you can see this slide, right? All the members of the class are by default private. So if I did not specify anything, then it will come under private mode. So the variables, I didn't specify any type of access specifier here. So the meaning is all these variables are private variables of this particular class, right? So next I have function declaration. So one function, get data function I have declared and add I have declared, right? So next I have put data. Okay, so here I have one mistake. So this semicolon should not come. Okay, wait, let me. Okay. Okay, let it be. I will show you the difference. Okay, so here I have three member functions. So get data, add and put data. So get data member function I will be using to get the values from the user. Then to perform addition I am using another function called add function. And to display the result I am using the put data member function. Okay, again this is optional. Based on the user, you can go for any number of functions or you can reduce everything to a single function also. Okay, and remember all these three functions has the return type and it has been declared under the public mode. Okay, so this structure you should remember. Okay, so then see we have declared the variables, we have declared the member functions. Now we need to define the functions, right? So get data I have terminated with semicolon, add I have terminated with semicolon. But I want to define the put data function inside the class declaration part itself. So the class declaration part starts from here and it ends up to this. So how we can identify the class declaration has been terminated? Because the class declaration has been terminated with the help of semicolon, right? So for the curly brace, I will be ending it with a semicolon. So with the help of that, we can remember that the class declaration part has been finished. So here, this put data member function, I want to define inside the class declaration, inside the class declaration part itself. So if I want to define it here, then void put data, here only I am declaring and semicolon won't come here, right? So if it is function declaration, it will be terminated by semicolon. If it is function definition, it won't be terminated by a semicolon, right? So void put data inside curly brace, I have given cout addition c equals to, and here I have I want to print the output result c, right? And close this block and then close the class declaration part, terminate it with a semicolon. Okay. So now I want to define two more functions, get data and add functions. Still I want to define, right? So without function definition, I cannot call that particular function. Okay. So for that purpose, here I want to define the two member functions outside the class declaration part. Okay. So if I want to define it outside the class declaration part, then the syntax is like this, right? So first I need to have the return type, class name, scope resolution operator, and then function name, right? So can you remember the previous slide? So if I want to define a member function outside the class, the syntax is return type, class name, scope resolution operator, and function name, right? So void addition, scope resolution operator, and the member function is get data. So within curly brace, here I have to give cout. Okay, so here I have missed one curly brace. So each and every block should be opened and it should be closed. Okay, so open a curly brace and cout, enter a and b values, and using cin operator get the value of the two variables. Okay, and then next I need to define add member function. Okay, so for add member function, again the same thing, return type, class name, scope resolution operator, function name, right? And open a curly brace. So the task here is c equals to a plus b, right? And in cout, here also we can display the output, or you can strike out this line. Why? Because already we have the put data member function, right? So now everything is finished. So all the functions has been defined. Two function I have defined outside the class declaration part, and one function I have defined inside the class declaration part, right? So now I need to go for the main function. So after all the program has been finished, finally we are coming for the main program, right? Inside the main program, the first thing is I need to create the object. Why? Because the class members can be accessed using the object of a particular class, right? So the syntax for object creation is class name space object name, right? So remember, the object name may be anything. So here I have selected a1. Okay, and then if you want to go use a clear screen, you can use it here. After the object creation, you can use the clear screen, but you need to give conio.h, right? Console input output.h. Okay, so first I need to get data from the user. So the get data can be the input can be obtained using the get data function by calling the get data function. So with the help of object name, we can call the get data, and it is a1 dot get data. And then once the input is obtained from the user, then we need to go for addition, right? The addition is available inside the add member function. So you can go for object name dot add, right? And then so here it is small a. Okay, so and finally to display the result, I have the put data function. So a1 dot put data, right? So this particular program will display the will get the input from the user, it will perform addition, and it will display the output, right? So for looking the program, to look this program, it will be little bit complicated, right? But if you split it and if you understand easily, you can write. See, here there is no necessity that I need to define this particular member function inside the class declaration part itself. If I want,
Madam,
tell me, Pa.
if we use semicolon here in the class defined function, in the function defined function, if we use at semicolon at the put data, we should write this line now, madam.
Yes. So here, if you use semicolon, then it will be considered as only function declaration part, right? It is only
Yes,
function
madam.
declaration. Then outside the class, you need to define that function like this. We have
Yes,
for
madam.
get data and add, no? Similar to
Yes,
this,
madam.
you will be having one more block, and the block will be void addition scope resolution operator put data. Within curly brace, you will be having these lines.
Yes, madam.
Okay, na?
Yes, madam.
Okay, bye. Any other doubt, ma?
No, madam.
Okay. So the thing
That's why
is,
you strike out by programming lengthy అవుతుందని strike out చేశారు మేడం అది.
not getting.
ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఇంకా లెంతీ అవుతుందని ఆ సెమీకోలన్ స్ట్రైక్ అవుట్ చేశారా?
No, actually, by mistake, I have kept semicolon. Initially, I thought of giving this member function, right? Only declaration. Then I want to differentiate the two types how we can define. One is outside the class declaration part, another one inside the class declaration part. So I want to show you this. So for that purpose, I have edited, but I forgot to include the remove the semicolon. Okay, na?
మేడం at function declaration only we can ask we can get values and we can add, no madam?
Yes, in function definition, actually we have three concepts, right? One is function declaration, function definition, and function call, right? If you take this get data member function, this line is function declaration, and this blocks are function definition, and this block is function call, right? So we have three concepts, right? So here what we can do is, in function declaration itself we can define the function also. So two things we can do together like this, which I have done for put data. Okay, so for put data function declaration also I'm doing here only. At the same time I'm defining that put data function, that is also done within this blocks itself.
Madam, at the function declaration part only we can get the values of ABN, no madam, without using that semicolon.
Without using semicolon we can do, yes. So without using semicolon, this entire block is there, no? This should be written here itself.
Yes madam.
That is correct. This block will come here itself. You have to remove the semicolon, and whatever we have defined outside the class, that entire block will come here. That is also correct, no problem. But the thing is, you need
in that case we don't need that function definition.
Function definition separately not required. If you are defining the function also in function declaration part itself, no need of separate definition. That is what that particular concept is called, defining the function inside the class declaration part itself. So this is your class declaration part, right? So here itself, if you are defining a function, then it is called as defining the member function inside the class declaration part. But instead of that, if you do like this, right, outside, then it is called as defining the member function outside the class declaration part.
Yes madam.
Okay, so I hope you understood this. So if you understand this, no problem. So this okay. Okay, so get data member function you can keep here, add member function also you can keep here, so that all the member functions we are defining inside the class declaration part itself. So that is one way, or whichever function you want to define outside, you can define it, no problem. And another thing, there is no order. So like C program here, there is no order that after the get data we need to define the add member function. In the beginning, first you can define add member function, then this particular block you can put it here. In any way you can keep. Why? Because all these functions we are going to call using the object. In which order we are calling, so here only we need to give more preference inside the main program. First we need to get the value and go for addition and then put data. Okay, so here if you swap, for example, first if you call add, then it will show you error. Why? Because first we need to get the input from the user, right? So that the order need to be maintained only inside the main program, so it doesn't have any relationship with the previous lines. Okay, so if you execute the program, the control will directly come to the main program. It won't see all these lines. Once if it enters into the main program, after the object creation, with the help of object, it will go for the get data member function. Once if it goes for get data member function, it will see in A and B, right? Then it will go and check for the class declaration part, whether the variables are declared. Yes, if the variables are declared, then it will obtain the value. Once the execution is finished, again the control will come back to the main program for the next line. In next line we have a1 dot add, right? So we are calling the add member function, so the control will move to the add member function, right? So here it is having c equals to a plus b. So again it will go and check whether the variable c is declared. Yes, if the variable c is declared, then it will perform the calculation. Then once the execution is over, again it will come back to the original location from where it is called. So now we are having a1 dot put data. Again the control will be transferred to the put data member function. Here it will display the c value and then it will finally come to the last line.